Hello guys, so welcome to Chess DNA, and in today's video we are going to be learning a very interesting and tricky setup that you can use against the reverse London system with the ready opening. So now there are players out there, what they want to do is just they always want to play London system no matter whatever you play. Whether they get white pieces or black pieces, they always want to stick to that one opening that they have prepared. So first of all, let's dig a little bit into the London system and try to understand what that is about. So the London system starts with d4, and if you reply with d5, they're always going to move this bishop out to the f4 square, starting position of the accelerated London system. Now, the exact London system move order is starting with knight f3 and then bishop f4, so it doesn't matter. You can just, start with knight f6, and then they're just always going to go bishop f4, characteristic move for the London system. And after, let's say you play e6, they're going to go e3, and no matter you go c5 or c6, they're just going to go c3, knight to d2, and that's a pretty standard London system setup that you're going to see always all the time. Just bishop to e2, sometimes bishop to d3 is also played, but let's say bishop to d2, knight c6, and castle. So you're always going to see this setup from white whenever they play the London system. Now what happens is that when you play the ready opening with white pieces, so you start with knight f3, and the London system players, the players who actually play the London system with white pieces, they're just a little bit confused what to do against knight f3 because they're used to c1 e4 or 1 d4, and they have their repertoires developed for those moves, but they have never seen knight f3, so they just want to stick to their London system approach against one knight f3. So they might actually want to start with d5, and then you go g3, so that's a ready opening repertoire for the King's Indian attack. Then they're just going to play knight f6, just a waiting move, but you're just going to not commit with any of your pawns in the center or even the c pawn, and just bishop g2, and then you're just going to castle. So here they can just go, let's say they can go c6, and then you can just castle, and then bishop to f5. So just like bishop to f4 in the London system with white pieces, in the reverse London system, when black is exactly playing the London system but with colors reversed, they're going to play bishop f5 in order to copycat that move order. So here it is really important to not go for the d4 move, although it's objectively fine, but it's really kind of very helpful for white to just play this pawn to d3 because it blunts this bishop out and minimizes its activity on this light square diagonal. So then they're just going to complete the development of the kingside pieces, but first they have to go e6, so they unlock this dark square bishop, and after e6 they just complete that reverse London system kind of structure on their light squares with the light square bishop out of that pawn chain. If the bishop was here, it would have resembled some sort of French when the bishop is just locked inside these pawns on the light squares, but the reverse London system is all about just getting that bishop outside of this pawn chain that you're building on the light squares. So bishop to f5 first, and then e6, and here you just play knight b to d2, and okay, bishop to d6 is what my opponent played against me in today's tournament, but here you're most often even going to see bishop to e7, which is the main theoretical move. And here the top engine move is knight to h4, like trying to attack that bishop, but I would always recommend to go b3 and just complete that double fianchetto. So after castles, bishop b2, and after knight bd7, the top move by the engine is queen e1. You move the queen, just slide it over to the e1 square where it will watch out this diagonal very beautifully. Sometimes this queen e1 move does not work so well when the knight is on c6 instead of d7, because knight b4 comes with this threat on c2 pawn, and it's really hard to defend because you cannot go rook c1 because then the knight would be trying to take on a2. But here, since the knight's square instead of c6 is d7, then it's really hard for knight to actually get on these queenside weaknesses, and queen e1 makes perfect sense. So the idea of queen e1 is to avoid going rook e1 and e4. Instead, we want the rook on the f file, so later we want to play knight h4 and push the f pawn forward, and the rook will be very nicely supporting the f pawn on the f1 square. So queen e1 is a very beautiful move in this position, and we are ready to play e4 in the next move. So here black should go h6, and after, let's say, e4, bishop actually gets this square on h7 to just drop back. But what my opponent played in this position against me in today's tournament is one of my traps that I actually prepared, and a couple of opponents have actually fallen into this one, so I thought to share it with you guys, because if you're playing the ready opening, or if you're playing this King's Indian attack setup, and you're facing a lot of trouble with this reverse London setup, which is very solid and hard to break, and you're not getting any attack at all in the King's Indian attack, then it's really nice to actually try out this line, which is if they play instead of bishop e7, we saw what to do, right? Just b3, bishop b2, queen e1. But if they go bishop d6 directly, then we do not wait for b3, bishop b2. We immediately go queen e1 like I did in my game today. And my opponent actually just, paused here for a while and tried to calculate, but most of the players, what they do, instantly castle. And it is a huge blunder, although this setup looks really solid and hard to break. But castles, which like looks really natural if black is not aware of this position. And here the main move, you guys can pause and try to find the move that actually is the winning move in this position for white. So the move that is actually the winning position, the winning move, and gives white the winning position, and is also the one I played in the tournament today, is e4. And the idea is that now you're trying to attack that bishop with tempo, and if the bishop actually drops back, then you have this e5 move, forking the bishop and the knight. So whenever the bishop actually develops to d6 instead of e7, you have this tactical opportunity available to yourself to play queen e1. After castles, just go e4. If bishop drops back to g6, then e5, forking both of the pieces, and this is winning for white. So my opponent actually saw that, so he first took, but after takes on e4, knight takes, but after knight takes, we are simply up a piece just for a pawn. And then he dropped the bishop back to c7. It is the right thing to do. You want to avoid any more trades now. But now b3, bishop b2, and after h6, rook d1, queen e7, queen e2. So I'm just now normally developing my pieces, harmoniously trying to bring them into the game. So my opponent actually tried to find some activity on the king side, but it was just not necessary. So bishop h2 trying to attack that weakness on e6 now, and he traded the bishops off on the f5 square. But now g4, kicking the rook back to f7, h3 just to protect g4 so it does not come under attack later. So knight e4, e5, c5, queen to e6, knight h4, and after rook to e8, we get the knight back, but after queen g6, we get this knight to that juicy d6 outpost. Bishop takes, rook takes, and he tried to exchange some pieces. I mean, he cannot do anything else, so that's what he has got to do. So it's a 10+5, so you have to play pretty fast as well. But it was pretty comfortable for me after I grabbed this pawn. He tried some counterplay on the king side, going h4, but now just, my king is just super safe on g2, and the rook is coming to h1. So he played queen h4, hoping to get some kind of queen g3 nuance, but just simply rook h1, and it resigns. So queen is lost here, and very beautiful game. I would say that preparation that we do at home, it definitely pays out someday at some game in the tournament. And this was round 6 of the tournament, which meant that now I was at 5 out of 6 before entering the last round. So definitely a huge relief, and happy to actually execute one of the preparations that I did for against like bishop d6. Let's go back to that move. I actually analyzed this once. I remember I thought, what if queen e1 right away? Actually, I wouldn't give all the credit to myself. I actually read this idea in a book, but not in the exact same move order. But queen e1 with the idea to fork the pieces out there already exists. And after castles, this is like my second opponent falling into the same trap, and over the board chess. But in online, I think I have a few victims as well. So I thought it's really, super cool thing to share it with you guys, because if it is working out for me, and if you also play ready opening, or you want to play ready opening and learn it, then it should work for you as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more, then subscribe to Chess DNA, and don't forget to like, share, and comment on this video, just so that I know if you guys have any recommendations for me. I'll definitely include the improvements in my other upcoming videos. So hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one.